Ready to set up a STEM career day for your elementary students? Setting up an event like this is so exciting, but it can be quite a bit of work to make sure that the day goes along smoothly. But I will be sharing with you 3 main things that you should consider when hosting a STEM career day that is super successful at your school. Take it from me. When I was a K through 5 STEM teacher, I hosted a successful STEM career day for my K through 5 elementary students for over 500 students and 15 presenters, and it went along beautifully. How did this STEM career day do so well? Let's jump into the episode. Welcome to the Elementary STEM Coach Podcast, a show that'll help you with lesson ideas, systems, and actionable tips to apply to your classroom. I am your host, Naomi Meredith, a former classroom teacher turned current STEM teacher and coach. With over a decade of experience teaching and a master's degree in STEM leadership, I am here to coach you throughout the year to help you gain back more time to create innovative experiences for your students. Grab your earbuds and let's get started. I know how important it is to bring guest speakers into your elementary space. Guest speakers are able to provide something that you as a teacher can't always give them. And this isn't a bad thing. This is just the reality of it. These guest speakers are able to bring in multiple perspectives for your students, share that industry experience that they have, and even talk about things that they are super passionate about, which in turn might be things that your students are passionate about too, or things that they never knew that they would be passionate about and want to learn more. It is so important for kids to see other people like them who are doing amazing and great things for our world, especially in the STEM space. I remember my first career day experience that I got to attend as a student. I was in middle school and we rotated throughout the school to learn from different people and all of their super cool jobs. At this point in middle school, I was in 8th grade, so almost in high school. I already knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I knew I wanted to be a teacher, and truly, I wanted to be a teacher ever since kindergarten. So the STEM career day was super cool and really awesome to learn about these different jobs. But I already knew what I wanted to be when I grew up anyway, so it didn't change my mind. Now, I might be an anomaly. You probably have students like this already, but having a STEM career day in the elementary space isn't too young. We often hear about these events for middle school, high school, even college. We can do this in elementary school. A lot of times at those kindergarten graduations, we even ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, let's give them different options to think about. There are so many jobs that even I, as an adult, have never heard of, and most likely your students haven't either. So let's bring them that experience with a STEM career day. Now, I know it's a lot of work getting this set up, and we're going to talk about those top 3 tips. And when I did this for my school, I kept you in mind the entire time. Yes, I kept the event in mind, but I kept you in mind while I was planning this. And I saved every single template and every schedule and every video that I used to prep this day because I knew there were other teachers like you who would want to do an event like this, but maybe all of that planning and prep work behind the scenes is actually holding you back. Now, think about this. If you're listening to this episode live when it comes out, or whenever you're listening to it, do you think it's actually crazy that if you were given all of the things to help you be successful, the templates, the way to schedule, how to set up your guest speakers, if you had all of that for you now, would it be so crazy to say, oh, I could actually get this set up to have an event in the next month or two? I don't think that's crazy at all. And if you don't think that's crazy at all, I have it all ready for you in my newest workshop, my STEM Career Day workshop for you, where everything is laid out and I walk you through the whole process from behind the scenes, from start to finish and after, where this event will be a piece of cake and a breeze. To get all of that info, it'll be linked in the show notes, but you can also get started with this workshop if you head on over to naomimeredith.com/STEM Career Day Workshop. It will be this audio workshop format for you where I will walk you through everything you need to know and help you for success. I did a poll over on my Instagram at Naomi Meredith _ and 83% of you said that you have never done a STEM Career Day before. So let's change that perspective. When I ask again in a year, have you ever done a STEM Career Day? Let's have that percentage, that 83%, be a yes instead of a no. And I am here to help you out along the way. The first thing when you are setting up your STEM Career Day is to think about the guests that you are having and have a variety of guests who are going to speak and formats. This kind of evolved on its own. I had an idea in my head of having different formats throughout this day, and I did provide different options for the parents while I was emailing and getting interest for this event. I was giving ideas to the parents right off the bat in my emails, like you could do something hands-on, it can be a presentation or anything else you can think of. Because I did want the day to have a lot of different things where students can experience these careers in their own unique way. Instead of just having a parent just stand up there, just talking to the kids, hello, here is my job and what I do. These parents brought in the coolest things and the coolest ideas to make this day come to life. I had 15 parent volunteers, and they were so gracious enough to be with us the entire school day for K through 5. And they had so many different cool things that they did with our students. And what was really awesome too is a lot of them at their jobs, they said that their bosses didn't either make them take the day as a personal day, or some of their companies even have volunteer days and really encourage them to go do events like this. So if you are scared to even get people to come into your building, these parents were more than willing to come in. And I had others who were interested. They just had things going on that day. And so if you can get at least 10 parents to come in and do an event like this, you're going to have a really successful day. Here were some of the types of jobs, some of the 15 that I had come speak to our students, and it was super, super cool. We had a systems engineer for Lockheed Martin, and they work on a lot of different things that get sent up into space. We had a clinical pharmacist. We had a husband and wife couple who are founders of an art academy. So you could even call this a STEAM day. And they had a really fun presentation. The kids really liked theirs. There was a packing engineer, so showing the students how things are packaged before they get shipped and how they are packaged in specific ways to really help save room and cut down on cost. We also had a mechanical project designer. And like I said, this was only a few of the amazing people that came in to speak with our students. Some of you might be wondering, how much did you pay them? How much did this event cost? This day was absolutely free, 100% free. These parents volunteered their time. It happened during the school day, so I wanted my students to be able to experience all of these careers and not be limited by, oh, my mom and dad won't bring me in. No, everybody, if you were at school that day and making good choices, you got to come to STEM Career Day, which was absolutely amazing. I did host in the morning as parents were coming in. We had some leeway time. I did host some coffee and donuts for the parents. My PTO actually did not fund that. I personally paid for the coffee and donuts for the parents for their time, had that little station available. It was the least that I could do for their time. But otherwise, the event was absolutely free, which is so important and so amazing that all the students got to experience this day. When it came to the actual presentations, there were a variety of things that were presented. Some parents had presentations up on the screen where they had pictures of them working in their jobs. Some had presentations even provided from their companies where again, they encouraged them to do some community outreach and had those resources already available for them. One of the parents who is a financial planner had a whole comic book and video that went along with what they were talking about provided by their company, which was so amazing. There were also some hands-on stations where kids actually got to feel and touch things or look at things up close. One parent had actual computers that were taken apart, and students loved seeing the inside of electronics. They absolutely loved that. One parent had a connection with their old company where they had a real working Enigma machine from World War II, which is a cipher that decoded messages from different places and things in World War II, and the kids actually were allowed to touch it. So that machine was definitely built to last. That was absolutely amazing that they were touching history. There was also a station where a parent at their company, they had an intern who designed and illustrated a children's book to share more about that career and what they do in that career. And then the parent had the book and read it to the students, which was so cool. So like I said, I gave some options for parents of what they could present, but they really took off with it and had a lot of fun with this. And the kids absolutely loved the variety of different things that they got to experience in each of these stations. The second thing to do when setting up a successful STEM career day is having a set schedule. Events like this definitely need to have clear-cut times and locations of where everything is happening. If you don't plan this beforehand, that can be an absolute disaster. And so I worked with our PE teacher who had an indoor field day schedule. And if you don't do indoor field day, ours was a backup day where the Colorado weather is very up and down, and we always needed a backup option to do field day inside. So she already had created that schedule that already worked with the lunch schedules we already had. And so I worked with her when it came to the scheduling piece because it was already done and how students would rotate in the building. So I had that set time schedule of where every class would be at which time and at which station. And then we also had a map of the locations of where they would visit each speaker. The sessions were only 10 minutes long, and it was interesting hearing from the speakers because it was the same people all day. In the morning, they had the older students, 3rd through 5th grade. And the afternoon, they had kindergarten through 2nd grade. And they all said the same thing where they felt like the 10 minutes was too short for the older students. And they felt the 10 minutes in the afternoon was too long. And that is the transition time built within that 10 minutes. So I thought that was really interesting. So when you're planning this event, maybe consider that point of it where if you want to, the students have a smaller amount of time. I kept it the same because the way the rotations worked, the teachers still had their plan time during this event, and the kids actually didn't have specials that day. And the kids and the teachers were like, oh, I'm so sad about it. Why aren't we having specials? I want to experience everything. I'm all, you don't have to go to your plan time. You get to experience most of the stations, but you actually get more time away from teaching than you do with actual specials anyway. And same for the kids, you're getting more time doing something fun than you do in specials. So it's one day out of the year. I don't think it's a big deal. I was a classroom teacher, but you might have some teachers like that. So just keep that in mind how that might go. For the fun stuff, I like to add a little bit of flair. I also made signs with each of the parents' pictures on them and their job description. and those were hanging in the locations of where they would be. This was really helpful when students were traveling to the different classrooms, and also for the parents to know where other people were and all of that. So that was actually a really nice touch, and the parents could keep their poster as a souvenir if they wanted to. Along with printing all of the schedules and the maps for the teachers, I also made class sets of a thank you card template that I created for them. We had third through fifth grade go in the morning and K through 2 in the afternoon, like I said. So for half of the day, the other grade levels were not participating in STEM Career Day in terms of the stations. This was a great opportunity for them to write a thank you note about their day if they wanted to do this during that time. I also collected all of those thank you notes back. And then me and the substitute I had covering my station for the day, I had a sub cover my stations so I could be running around and help troubleshoot or anything like that. But we sorted all of the thank you notes based on the presenters, if there were specific ones. And then the ones that were more generic, we just sorted them out evenly. And so by the end of the week, the parents were given a stack of thank you notes to thank them for their time. I did read every single one, and I actually took pictures of the ones that were really amazing and powerful, and they really made me tear up because I knew that this day was going to be really successful and really powerful for the students. But hearing their perspective talk about STEM Career Day was so, so powerful to me. Here's what a few of the thank you notes that they said, and it was so cute. One student said, "Thank you for helping us learn." And this is to the presenters, not to me. But they said, "Thank you for helping us learn. I can't wait to tell my family all about it." Another student said, "Thank you for sharing such cool stuff with us. This is one of the most fun events we ever had at school," which I'm all, ooh, compared to field day, I'll take that. And then this one was really, really sweet. And they have a picture of a rocket in the bottom. Really, really good handwriting. And they said to one of the parents, "Thank you so much for taking time off work to come teach us about your job and how it uses STEM. I learned a lot about rockets and all their parts. I really liked how you let us touch some of the parts of the rocket and showed us a timeline video of the rocket being made. Thank you for teaching me and my class here. I think when I'm older, I want to be a systems engineer like you." Which, how amazing is that? And knowing this student, I never actually would have guessed that might be something that they would be really passionate about. So that was really, really cool. And the last thing that you definitely want to do when setting up a successful STEM Career Day for your school is build hype and promote it. You are setting up an event. And just like any event, you want to build up that hype. I did this for my own wedding. You do this for events. I am that kind of person. If I am passionate about something and there is a project that I'm working on, first of all, I won't do and start a project unless I am passionate about it. You betcha I'm going to build hype about it because I want everybody to have an amazing experience and really be into what we are doing. And you want to do this for STEM Career Day. It's not just one little email, "Hey guys, we're going to do STEM Career Day on April 5th. I hope you have a good time." No, you are building this up. If you're not hyped up about it, nobody else is going to be hyped up about it. When at first glance, it actually might sound boring. Hey, you're going to hear from parents talk about their jobs. No, you need to make this a whole thing. You want to build that hype. And I did save everything I did for this. And so inside of that workshop, you get all the templates and all the things to help you hype up your day. So you don't have to think about all the words. I was putting a bug in people's ears, like talking to some of the teachers. "What do you think about this idea?" They're like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." I'm like, "I'm thinking about doing a STEM Career Day. What do you think about that?" So putting a bug in the ear, like months before this was actually going to happen. Talking to our admin, "Hey, I want to put on this event. I will plan the whole event. It'll be during the day. It'll be educational. It'll be amazing. And just getting those dates confirmed, putting it in parent newsletters, classroom newsletters, getting interest. Once I had that interest from parents, then I could collect more information. Here's how you can present that day. So really building that hype. Also, as a teacher, I was always talking about this with kids. And once I kind of knew the people who would be presenting and it was connecting what we were learning, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, we have somebody's parent who's actually going to talk about their job that relates to this project that we are doing. Isn't that amazing? And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so good. So you definitely want to hype this up. Another huge thing too, when it comes to events and hyping up, is I promoted this all the time on our school-wide video news. And if you're interested on how to do this, I have a workshop about this too, which we will link in the show notes. So if you want to know how to do a school-wide news team, I will show you every single thing in there. All the templates are in there as well. Like I said, I keep you guys in mind when I set all of these events up. But anyway, I made videos for the news. I would say, hey guys, here is the session that I am presenting on. I did have a backup session just in case if anything were to happen, but I put that on the news. I even had parents who were presenting. They made videos that went on the news, and the kids went insane when they saw their parents on their screen in their classroom talking about their job. How cool is that? So really building up this hype, sending those email reminders, having all the materials prepared for teachers. So it's like you don't have to teach for 2 hours this day. A little side note, I actually planned mine. It worked out perfectly. We had our STEM career day on Pi Day, so 3.14 pi, the mathematical pi, we had it on that day. It's also Star Wars Day, so that was pretty cool. And the next day was a teacher work day. And that was just such a lovely treat for the teachers. So even the timing of STEM Career Day was hype in itself. So really building this up to be an amazing event and why this is so important will even help it go a lot quicker because the kids know, oh, Miss Meredith is so excited about this. We should be excited about this too. And we should really behave and do a good job because this is a very special event. So really build up that hype. It does make a difference. It really, really does. Get pumped and everyone will get pumped about it and support you on this amazing day. As a recap, here are those 3 main things that you should keep in mind when setting up a successful STEM career day for your elementary students. First, have a variety of guests and formats. Second, have a set schedule. And third, don't forget about this part, build hype about your event and promote it. If you are so pumped up, just like I am, to get started and set up a STEM career day in no time at all and not have to think about all the details and how all of this works and how did it all go, how do you collect this information, I have every single template and everything laid out for you where I will walk you through step by step in this workshop. And this is an audio workshop, so really special and different than other workshops I've done in the past where each little thing will be broken up into a segment that you can listen on the go, where you will have all of those digital templates and all the things you need to get set up. But you will hear me and listen to me while you are on the go, and I will talk you through the whole process. You don't need to join me live. I know you are busy and you all have different schedules of when you would set this up. So I kept this in mind where this is ready to go for you to get into this special day and set it up for your students and feel confident that it is going to work. You can grab all of that information in the show notes or check it out at naomimeredith.com/STEM Career Day Workshop. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Elementary STEM Coach Podcast. I would love to connect with you over on Instagram at NaomiMeredith_ or send me an email to elementarystemcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure to check out my website, naomimeredith.com, to see all the show notes from today's episode and shop my K-5 STEM resources. Any questions you have, needs for resources, or ideas for episodes, get in touch. I'll talk to you soon.